And welcome to the M2 podcast. I'm your host, Michael Anthony. My co-host is Mr. JK Kyle Heath. This is the show where we basically cover esports and personalities, gaming industry related news, technology innovation, and most importantly, new and upcoming games. So without further ado, what we like to do is start off with updates. And Kyle, what have you been doing the last week?
Oh, you want to know what I played
How was
last
your
week?
Thanksgiving, man?
Oh
How was
yeah,
your
let's talk
Thanksgiving?
about that first. Actually, Thanksgiving was good. Spent some time
That's good.
with family and friends. All a good time, as usual. I'm very grateful for that. So spent some time there. Did I think other than that, no. Now you know it's funny. Like on top of Thanksgiving is Black Friday, right?
Right.
Funny enough, I think the only Black Friday deals I really got were like clothes. Like I needed to
Nice.
get some new stuff for my wardrobe, so picked up some new clothes. I also picked up. I haven't even told you about this yet, but I picked up a whole bunch of SSG merch because they had a ton on sale. So
Yeah.
um, I picked up a bunch there. I picked up a jersey and everything. So be seeing. I'll be looking like a part of the org here in the next couple of weeks. The merch I'm about to have.
That's
Um,
awesome.
but yeah, they had a deal too. They had this. They have a hoodie on their site. It's like a blanket hoodie kind of thing. Like it's a very oversized. Like it almost looks like a cooler version of the Snuggie. Like so. I got a free one of those for the amount of money I spent in the shop. So because it wasn't that big of a price tag, and I was already spending already spending a little bit under that. So I was like, I'll just get something else and then pop the threshold so I can get that for free. So I'm very excited for that. Got a decent amount of stuff coming there. So yeah, bought some merch. And that was really it for my Black Friday though. I didn't like go out of my way to purchase anything else. So that was pretty much it there. Um, on top of the games I played this week, I actually got a decent amount of Warzone in. Me and the
Oh,
boys have been
really?
playing a lot. Me and the boys have been like getting into Warzone. And I think overall, I enjoy the game, but there's definitely some frustrating aspects to Warzone. I ain't gonna sit here and lie to you, Um,
Oh,
but
of
yeah, I
course.
think but I
It's
mean,
COD.
overall, it's a good enough BR where I'm not, like running off to not play it. So I've been enjoying it. I've been getting used to the loadouts and like the weapon tuning and stuff like that. I mean, to be fair, I've literally just been looking up like YouTube videos of like good weapons and like good tunings and just like going based off that. And for the most part, they've been pretty decent. So it's like I've really just been looking up the stuff because I don't want to spend the time to actually like experiment and whatnot. So been taking the lazy route, but it's been somewhat working, which is good. But yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it too. Like the weapon tuning is going to be constantly changing because that's just how COD is with their meta, and it's really difficult to keep up with if you're not grinding constantly. So I do the same thing as you, man. I'll like do a quick YouTube or article search and try to find the best like combinations and tuning for the guns.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been the main thing there. Other Other than that, though, I don't know if I actually played anything else this week. That was really all the gaming I did was just kind of on Warzone, just kind of doing that. And then with Thanksgiving and all that, I didn't game too much over that weekend. So it's kind of just really that. What about you though? Wait, what about you? How was Thanksgiving? I know you traveled. How was all that?
Yeah.
How was Black Friday? Did you get your hand on any deals? And how was the return back and the relaxation period from traveling so much?
So I guess so. I traveled on Thanksgiving Day, so Thursday, and I didn't take advantage of pretty much any of the deals because I was out with family. We were running around all over the place trying to like just enjoy the moment, kind of thing. And then Tuesday comes around, I'm like, oh crap, I got to go home. So I was out of all things video gaming. Like when I go travel, I'm basically MIA, and you know this too. It's like I'm not active on
No,
Discord anymore. I'm not
yeah,
really tweeting out. You don't see me online. It's
yeah,
like
right.
I'm gone. So like from a gaming perspective, I wasn't doing much. I didn't take much like advantage of any deals really. I saw plenty though, where I was like, and this would be nice to have, but I don't really like need it. You know what I mean? It was just like a
Yeah,
bunch of
yeah.
wants. So I can wait. It's not that big of a deal for me. I'm pretty content with where I am right now with like the majority of my stuff. There's like small deals that I want to get that like aren't even related to gaming. Like I want to get myself like a new book bag for traveling because I've been traveling so much. I'm like, dude, I need a different backpack. Just like it's
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
worn out. It's like I want something a little bit more like specific to like carry things.
Right.
Um, but no, from a gaming perspective, man, like right before I left, Battlefield 2042 came out on the Ultimate Game Pass. So I installed that, and then when it was finished, I turned off my computer, and I have yet to play it. And I've been playing Halo Infinite to try to warm up, right? So it's like I didn't play the day I got back. Today's Thursday, so I played a little bit last night for about an hour or two, maybe 3 hours at most. Stayed up a little late playing, but the reason why I'm trying to play Halo Infinite and I've been playing on the Xbox, highly recommend not doing that because it's incredibly frustrating. But I've been doing that strictly because it's kind of like a handicap, and I'm trying to play on PC tonight after we get done podcasting for our Halo Rec League match. And I'm I don't know how it's gonna go because technically I think we should be in the Master Division, which is the highest division, but none of us have been playing. So we're gonna be going against people that have been playing a whole bunch. We could just get like
Nice.
completely bopped. Like there's no telling what's gonna happen.
Nice. Sounds exciting, nerve
Yeah.
wracking, and fun. Huh.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I'm not trying to take it too seriously. It's a rec league, man. It's
Yeah.
like I'm not it's not HCS, it's not for money, and I'm just trying to get like some type of competitive drive in before I start going into like Battlefield 2042 and maybe do some CDL stuff for COD. Been about like 10 years since I competed in COD, and they have to use controllers in their league. Did you
Yeah.
know that?
Yeah, I think I did. I did
Uh,
hear about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's any controller though. But
Yeah, which is
yeah,
nice. But yeah, it's,
yeah.
dude, yeah, it's so crazy to think too that that first major is in 2 weeks. Which is like it's like what?
Yeah.
It's like it's already coming up, you know.
Yeah, it's like right down the road from us, right? Basically. I don't know
Yeah.
how long of a drive for it
For
would it be for you?
me,
Like 3?
no, for me, I think it's like 2.5. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Um,
It's 2.5 for me as well.
yeah, yeah, it's not
So
too bad. I mean, I'm gonna see how like my schedule is and everything. I definitely would like. I'd definitely probably be down to like swing by a day or two, like check it out
yeah, exactly.
if it permits, you know. So
Yeah. I'll see how I feel. I'll probably be a last like game time decision to go check it out as a spectator.
yeah,
Because man, like I've been traveling so much, I just want to do nothing.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just
I
want to
feel
sit
that,
at home, like watch TV, watch the World Cup. We've been enjoying the World Cup, you and I.
dude. Yeah, dude, it's
The
been a lot of
games
fun.
have been incredible,
Oh man,
and
so good.
yeah, USA tied with England and Australia got through. So the Aussies also call football soccer. So it's a name soccer until they lose.
Oh man,
Uh,
dude, the soccer moves were way too good, especially the USA game. God, they were so good.
yeah, man. Dude,
Um,
I absolutely love all these memes. I'm following like 3 or 4 different Twitter feeds. It's like it's just like my Twitter feed used to be all gaming related because obviously it's like I have a Twitter handle specifically for gaming, but now it's like all World Cup related memes. They're so good.
they're really good. Not gonna lie,
Yeah.
for sure.
So that's basically what I've been up to.
Yeah,
But I mean, I think without further ado, we should probably jump in and try to get this week's news. Like what's really happened this last week.
yeah, it's true. What has happened? You know. Um, I also want to preface this and say, well, I know we'll mention it at the end, but this is going to be the last legitimate, I guess, like proper episode of the year.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, this is
Regular program scheduled,
yeah,
like
regular,
whatever they call
regular,
it.
yeah, regular scheduled programming. You know, so I mean, we got this one. Got the Game Awards show next week, which will be a little bit
Yeah.
later, probably be a day late, just to make sure we get all the info on the Game Awards in and we process all the
Yeah.
announcements. Then after that, I do want to try and do like an end of the year show, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, a couple after this. It's not going to be this is gonna be the last kind of story episode of the season. Season 3 is coming to an end. Bittersweet, but without further ado, I think we should talk about some stuff. I actually have a pretty bittersweet article to mention at the top here.
Yeah.
I pulled this one from
This
Kotaku.
brand new.
Yeah, brand new. I pulled this one from Kotaku. This is a this article I heard. It came. I think I saw it on Twitter earlier this week. And it's about the Smash World Tour. Yeah, I guess privately hosted tournament. Nintendo actually shut down the Smash World Tour. Organizers losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm assuming from spectators and all the money they would have made. The decision, it says the decision has blindsided the team who truly believed things were progressing positively. The organizers of the Smash World Tour today, as of Tuesday, at the time this article came out, announced that they were being shut down after Nintendo, without any warning, quote unquote, told them that they could no longer operate. Smash World Tour is ran by a third party, a group of fans who put together a worldwide collection of events and tournaments under one umbrella. Since Nintendo has been so bad. It's not my it's not my reading. It's the article. It's been so bad at arranging anything official. It has grown over the years to become one of the biggest in the esports and fighting game scene, with an annual championships annual event featuring massive cash prizes. As the Smash World Tour team says, in 2022 alone, we connected over 6,400 live events worldwide, with over 325,000 in-person entrants, making the Smash World Tour the largest esports tour in history for any game title. Championships would have been the largest prize pool in Smash history at over $250,000. The 2023 Smash World Tour planned to have a prize pool of over $350,000. That is all toast, though, because organizers now say that, quote, without any warning, we received notice the night before Thanksgiving from Nintendo that we can no longer operate. While Nintendo has yet to comment on this, which has actually changed, Nintendo did make a comment on this. They recently teamed up with Panda to run a series of competing, officially licensed Smash events. While this was a huge disappointment for SWT's organizers, fans, and players, and has also placed the team in a huge financial hole, since so many bookings and plans for the events have already been made, as they say in the cancellation announcement. We don't know everything. We don't know where everything will land quite yet, with contracts, sponsors, obligations, etc. In short, we will be losing hundreds of thousands of dollars due to Nintendo's actions. That being said, we are taking steps to remedy many issues that have arisen, canceling the upcoming Smash World Tour Championships, especially for the players. Please keep an eye out in the coming days for help with travel arrangements. Given the timeline of that we've been forced into, we had to publish this statement before we could iron out all the details. All attendees will be issued full refunds, which that's like, that alone, that's probably like a huge hit to like, their financial losses. It's just having to literally just give money back to everyone that was trying to attend. Um,
Oh yeah, easily.
yeah, easily, very easily. Yeah, there's a ton of other information about this article. Nintendo did they did give a response to this. They said Nintendo they actually told Kotaku in a statement. They said, unfortunately, after continuous conversations with Smash World Tour and after giving the same deep conversation we applied to any potential partner, we are unable to come to an agreement with SWT for a full circuit in 2023. Nintendo did not request any changes to or cancellation of remaining events in 2022, including the 2022 championship event, considering the negative impact on the players who were already planning to participate. So Nintendo was out here claiming that they actually didn't mind if they continued throughout the remainder of 2022, but apparently it was said otherwise by SWT. They put out a response to the statement, pretty much saying like like, this just doesn't make sense. Why Nintendo's saying that we weren't allowed to operate when from the communications they had, it seemed like they they were pretty much telling him, you gotta cease immediately, cease any events. So yeah, there was a huge response to that, which you can go and read on the article. But I think overall, it's just like, because this is the thing, we've talked many times on this show about franchising and CDL and like these officially licensed tournament organizers, and how especially back then MLG was like huge for like Halo and COD and all these games where that's like it really shined under that umbrella. Um, I mean, what do you think of Nintendo saying like, "Hey, we only want events hosted that are like officially licensed and partnered with us. We don't want third parties involved at all." Like, what do you think about this, Mike? As someone who's I know has like grown up around that, MLG and really like kind
Show
of
my age.
grassroots scene.
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's really weird. So I think I think there's a couple of things going on. Nintendo has never supported the Smash community pretty much ever. They've never really like helped fundraise. They never helped organize. Like that's what I always thought was fascinating about the Smash community is they did everything on their own. There was like no there's like a league, but everybody's involved. It was like a tight knit community of Smash players. And the reason for that is because they never had support from the developer. Like MLG was a little bit different because when they got started with Halo 1, they were they were basically community driven. Very small community out of like Michigan and Ohio. up there, and it eventually just got bigger and bigger with like the new releases of the game with like Halo 2 coming out and then Halo 3, and by the time Halo 3, they were like fully supported nearly by Bungie. Like Bungie was regularly like attending. They were building like in matchmaking they had competitive games from MLG. And like
Yeah.
the MLG rule game type really came from the pro players and what they felt was the most like the best for competitive integrity, right? So it's way different now because it's like Nintendo's never really supported their competitive scene in pretty much any game. I don't think them saying like it can only be sanctioned in Nintendo events. I think that's not the issue. I think they just don't want games to be competitive and people to play like compete for money through video games. I don't know why. Maybe it's like a culture thing with how it is at HQ Nintendo over in Japan and
Mm.
like how like the CEO views it, but it's kind of always been that way. They've never supported. The crazy thing is them just basically saying, "Okay, yeah, you got to cancel everything. No more of this like cease and desist kind of
Yeah.
like level." That's pretty intense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think because I think it's your point too. I mean, it seems like Nintendo, at least they want to have some sort of like some form of tournaments, maybe through different organizers and stuff. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd go as far as to say like they don't want any competitive gameplay at all. Um, I just think that it's one of those things. That's kind of like should this, I guess. I mean, I understand too. Like Nintendo has an image, right? And they have like they have like this brand, so they don't want it tarnished or affected by any sort of negatively hosted event or anything that they don't necessarily condone. So man, I can get that. That's the thing about like competitive gaming is like I think most competitive like gaming spaces, I think for the most part, it's like at the end of the day, everyone just wants to have fun and like try
Yeah,
and just like compete. And they don't necessarily want to like bring like shine a bad light on a particular like game or community. So I think overall the intention's good for the most part. So I mean, again, it does seem kind of weird to me, but I mean, yeah, Nintendo. I mean, you're completely right though that Nintendo hasn't really ever supported like competitive Smash, and it's kind of just
yeah,
like it's a bummer too because it's one of those fighting games. It's one of the it's like dude, Smash is one of the most fun fighting games that I enjoy watching. Um, I never really got into like Tekken or anything like that, but like Smash is always like it's one of those things, and the reason it does so well is because it has those characters in it that like everybody knows from like childhood
yeah,
games. Like it's got them all
exactly.
right. So
That's what gets you interested initially, and then you play it, and it's like it's amazing.
yeah, it's like it's a decent game, right? So
Mhm.
so yeah, it's very odd to me. I think like overall, do you think that Nintendo should try and have an involvement in stuff like this, or do you think they should just back off and just let people do their thing?
Uh, that's pretty like an open. That's like a Pandora's box question for me that I can rant about for a while. But I think I want to add to your point previously before I tackle that. The point previously that I want to add to is with Nintendo in particular, a lot of their games actually have decent competitive integrity or like balancing of the characters. And it's not just Super Smash. Like Super Smash, there's usually like two or three characters that are just tiers above everybody else, but everybody has like pros and cons, right? Um, I'm referring to something like Mario Strikers, even. Like that game is really, really intricate, and there's different ways to build a class and like build uh like a team to compete with. And there are other games you can add to it too. It's like you can make like Mario Party a competitive game. You can make Mario Kart a competitive game, and there are like Mario Kart racing leagues. But the problem with Mario Kart is it's a lot of RNG too. So maybe that has to do with it. Maybe there's a little bit of gambling aspects that Nintendo's afraid of.
Yeah.
So, well, like that's hard to explain. But for your question about whether or not franchising should really get into Nintendo or just stay alone, like stay away from it, I don't know really because it's like franchising leagues are so new. I'm not in favor of them because I don't think esports in general, like the teams, make any money whatsoever. So when you're franchising, I think the developers are just stealing from the teams a
Yeah.
lot of the time. I think it's better if it's like mostly grassroots, individual teams, not pay to get into the league. But
Yeah. Yeah,
like
I mean,
I like the idea of relegation,
yeah.
basically.
I mean, I do too.
If you're not, yeah,
I think because the thing about like franchising and stuff too, it's like we've had all these tournaments in the past where it's been hosted, like very grassroots, very bare bones, like you don't have all this money involved. And then these franchises come in and they want to say, okay, you need to pay 20 plus $1 million or whatever, or some
yeah, Call of
exorbitant amount of
Duty,
money. Like COD does 20 million, but every league's different. I'm sure Overwatch is like insane too. But like you pay all this money, right? And it's like, where's the money going? It's like going to production and stuff like that, sure. But like do they really need that much money to be able to produce like a high level show and to have all these
yeah,
extra hands working on everything? I think that's where, again, I'm not a businessman. I don't know how any of it works, but I'd love to see a breakdown of that. Okay, like here's what we're actually doing with the funds, and like here's the
yeah,
reasoning behind why we take this much money, because it seems exorbitantly high. Um and yeah,
yeah. That's not even accounting for player salaries.
yeah, very true. Yeah,
and and hopefully like I hope that's some of the big leagues like CS:GO, Valorant, Overwatch now is probably going to be picking up since the new game or like new update came out. But those salaries, man, I hope they're getting benefits too.
yeah,
Like from a
something.
personal competitive side.
I'm
Like it
telling you,
can't
man.
just be all salary. That's ruthless, I think. That's like
Yeah,
contractor level. But
yeah, dude.
it's it's weird, man.
It's
It's
so
tough.
strange. And yeah, I mean,
It's so new. It's so new, I think.
that's probably the best point there, is that it's so new. So like we can't. There's really not much to say on it right now because it's kind of just like
Exactly.
maybe it doesn't work, but I mean, won't know until due time. So but
Yeah.
yeah, I really hope something like, because like salaries on top of that, if they're having to pay this franchise spot and then pay player salaries on top of that, I mean that's so much money. And it's like if that was like included in like the in the price of everything, I think it would make sense. But yeah, I'd be curious to see like just an itemized list or like a breakdown of what it's all involved in that. I think it'd be pretty dope. Will it ever
It
come
would
out?
be.
Who knows? Maybe years from now,
I
after
think
they
so.
figure it out.
I
Um,
think so. There's probably we're gonna get to the point where like franchises are now gonna be like on the stock market where you can invest in it.
yeah,
Like who wouldn't invest in the NFL right now or MLS?
yeah,
You know,
yeah. That's the thing too.
um,
Maybe start DraftKings Smash or DraftKings
seriously,
DraftKings
that's
COD.
the other. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Maybe this could be like one of those situations where Nintendo feels like the legality of everything is just so out of like hand that it's not worth their time.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, when I think Nintendo, what do you think of? Because I don't think competitive, like, Smash tournament organizing,
Oh
like,
yeah. No.
multi-million dollar tournament.
No, I
No, I
never
think of
do.
a couch, me and my friends all, like, huddled together, talking smack,
Yeah.
and, like, just having fun, having a good
Yeah.
time, you know?
You know what I think about when I think Nintendo? I think about the fact that golf was added to Switch Sports last week or this week. That's what I
Oh, yeah.
think. It was
Good
on
shout
Monday. It
out.
was on Monday. It was on Monday they actually
I'm
added it. So
I'm
yeah, the
ashamed I
28th.
still haven't played. But, hey,
Unreal.
no more traveling.
You can
I'm not
play,
doing
dude.
anything.
Mike, you don't have to play.
I'm
Just play
playing.
golf. You don't need to play with anyone. Just play golf. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Just,
yeah.
the best part, they've added. I think it's like 21 holes from Wii Sports. They just like brought them over. So
Oh, snap. Okay, so
yeah. So
I might be ready to go.
yeah. So
Yeah,
Switch. I don't know.
I'm
Yeah, but
excited.
they added golf this week. So there you go. It finally came to Switch Sports after a while. So better late than
Yeah.
ever. Nintendo. Yeah, that's what I think of though. I think of stuff like that, and I think of those like fun like family games. So yeah, very unfortunate for Smash World Tour. Hopefully they can, scrap together some funding or find a way to maybe possibly do this stuff without Nintendo's backing. But it sounds like Nintendo just wants them to not do anything related to their game, which is rather unfortunate. But
Yeah, that's
um,
the wild part. I hope
yeah,
Nintendo never gets to the point of, like, shutting down content creators.
yeah. I mean, dude, it's gotten really
That's
bad.
scary.
I mean, you know how bad the ads like were, or you know how bad, not ads, but like the content, like like people like Nintendo fully striking channels for using gameplay of their games, and
Yeah,
like it was bad. Um,
yeah.
And it's so
I
weird in an industry like this where you have this one company that for some reason doesn't see the value in content creators. It's like it just makes no sense
that's
to me.
it is very, very weird.
It's very
Yeah,
traditional.
the other thing is too, it's like, I did say it could have been, like, a culture thing, but it's like, Sony doesn't do that,
Hmm.
do they? I'm
Not that
not
I know of.
they're in the
Um,
same country, last time I checked.
yeah, they're
So,
headquarters.
yeah, so, yeah, so that's probably not even a fair thing to even mention. So Who knows? I'm not sure what Nintendo's really trying to do. I just know what their brand is, and I guess they're just very conscious of their brand
Yeah.
and what they plan on doing.
Yeah. That's the best way I think that we could look at it, you know. So,
Yeah.
um, dude, I don't know. Speaking of brands, though,
Oh
you know how we
goodness.
have E3 next year, right, Mike? It's like six,
Yeah.
7, 8 months away. It's a while. We also have Summer Games Fest. This
Yep.
article is hilarious. I had to pull it. So, at least I thought it was hilarious. So, Summer Games Fest 2023, of course, is kicking off at the same time E3 is happening. At least that's what we thought, right? But it seems that Jeff Keighley put out a statement saying that that Summer Games Fest 2023 will be happening a few days before E3. Like their initial showcase will be happening a few days before E3, and I can only assume it's to one up E3.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
but yeah, so just a quick thing. Summer Games Fest is back in 2023, the first ever in-person kickoff show on June 8th, which just so happens to be a few days before E3's big return. For the past 3 years, Summer Games Fest has served as gaming industry's big June blowout while E3 was in flux due to the pandemic. Everyone listening, I'm sure knows what Summer Games Fest is. Of course, E3 canceled in 2020. They had some remote events in 2021, but they canceled again in 2022. And they announced, earlier this year that they're coming back next year. Since both the Summer Games Fest and E3 are back in a major in-person components in Los Angeles area, setting up a potentially huge June Games news season. Summer Games Fest starts things off on June 8th with a show that will once again be hosted by Jeff Keighley. The event will take place at the 6,000 seat YouTube Theater in Inglewood, California, and tickets go on sale in early 2023. If you aren't able to attend the live event, you'll be able to catch it in all major streaming platforms. E3 will follow a bit after from June 13th through June 16th, dedicated days for both games industry attendees and general consumers. There will be the industry only Play Days component to Summer Games Fest this year, and it's unclear if they will be back in 2023. When we asked if it was returning, spokesperson Jackie Moore said that Summer Games Fest is currently just announcing the kickoff show and will have more details come in 2023. But yeah, over the past few years, it's been really Summer Games Fest that's dominated, for the the Summer Games releases. So, again, it's completely and entirely spearheaded by Jeff Keighley. Jeff Keighley, the GOAT, who'll be hosting the Game Awards next Thursday, not Friday. Make sure I get the date right there. But yeah, so very excited for that. It's the award show I look forward to every year. The only award show I probably look forward to every year is Game Awards. So I'm very excited for that next week. But yeah,
That sounds
Summer
like
Games Fest is on top of that. It's another event I have somewhat look forward to. I will say, from if you go back and watch our Summer Games Fest breakdown, which felt like was yesterday, it's
it really does.
like 5 or 6 months ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you go look back, I think for the most part, it was kind of just like I thought it was very like like it was kind of just didn't like I wasn't crazy for it. Like there were some cool announcements, but it wasn't anything that was like wild to me. If we got teased with the Dead Island 2, and then
Yeah.
and it did come. There was redemption in an opening night live, where actually I think it was opening night live that I announced it. So we got redemption there, but then it got delayed again. I'm just not going to talk about it. All right, that's a different topic. I'm not going to go on that tangent.
We
But
saw a lot
yeah,
of games that got delayed
a
at
lot
Summer
of
Games Fest.
yeah, there's a lot, and there's been I saw there was I think it was another like major title that I saw got delayed this week into next year. It's like it's just delays. Um, but I think for the most part, Summer Games Fest, I think it's interesting that Jeff is like, and I'm just gonna overcut him by a couple days and get the leg up here. So I'm curious to see if E3 will respond in any way. But I don't know. I have my doubts. I think they're kind of just going to do their own thing. So, overall, though, what do you think, Mike? You think Jeff Keighley's like? You think he's got the Giga Brain play here?
Yeah, I think he's just poking fun, really. I don't think it's that big of a deal because most people that watch E3 don't go to the event. Most people that watch Summer Game Fest, they would go to the event.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I think them just moving it early is like probably trying to convince the devs, like, okay, we got to have the premiere stuff like come out and be showcased on our platform,
Yeah.
which is exactly what they did with Elden Ring.
Yeah, it's very true.
Like that, and Elden Ring arguably is going to win Game of the Year. That's my guess. Not sure who the front runners are, but we'll find out next week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they actually have the announcements of who was all nominated. But yeah,
I did see that.
I think Stray, oddly enough, was game of the year. Which I heard it was a cool game, but like, come on, you got like God of War and all these other contenders that
That's
like it's like they're just fundamentally better games. No offense to
that's very
Stray.
true. That's
Stray's, I'm sure, a great story, but yeah, it's really good. I think overall for me, I'm very curious to see how the announcements are gonna roll when we have two major events like this. Like with Summer Games Fest and E3, okay, what's like I'm sure there's gonna be some crossover announcements or some like, announcements that happen at both, but it's gonna be weird to see who gets the exclusives and who doesn't.
yeah. They're probably going to be fighting behind the scenes. You think? Like,
Yeah.
you must be, or it's going to be one of those situations where they're like, okay, we're going to give you half of our content for like Summer Games Fest to like really tease people. Maybe we'll get those like 30-second little trailers. You
Yeah.
know, those like
Yeah.
where they only show like you only get the sights, not really like a sights, but you get like environmental or like zooming in on like a corridor or like some
Yeah.
graphics,
Yeah.
and then you get like really cool background noise, and then it just cuts to the logo. Like
Yeah. Might
then
get
the
some of
following
those,
week
yeah.
at E3, it like pops off.
Yeah. Yeah, but who knows? I think Jeff may be pretty reasonable of like, hey, like if you just do something like that where it's like, okay, we'll tease a little bit here, but then we'll give you the full thunder and let you talk about it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's certainly
Either
a cool
way,
thing.
yeah. Either way, as like a consumer or us nerds that are just really interested in the video games, like it's pretty cool to see just live events coming back, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's
we
huge.
we thought it was coming back this year. Remember at the beginning of the year, all these announcements were like, "Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen." E3 cancels. There was another
Yeah.
major one that canceled too, um, out in California because it was still so early. And like the go back to normal, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, both in person. I mean, Summer Games Fest is having an
yeah,
in-person kickoff, which is really exciting because that hasn't happened before at Summer Games Fest yet. So
no,
that's really
no,
exciting to see what they're gonna do for a live event. That gets it honestly gets me more pumped to see like, okay, it's probably gonna be, I would assume, on a similar level to Game Awards in terms of production levels. So very excited
yeah,
for that. Um, yeah, I mean, there's not too much else to this story. I think it's just of note, just keep an eye out, see how E3 responds, and see what it's going to be like having two major award shows in a span of a week. So it's going to be a huge week, to say the least.
we're gonna be busy.
Yeah, very, very busy. Nervous about that, but we'll figure it out. I have faith in us. You know what else I have faith in? Discord, baby.
Oh
Discord.
my gosh, didn't I say last week Discord could take the spot as Twitter? You know, like one of
Good,
these
yeah.
apps could like come in and just start taking stuff over.
No,
And with this news, I'm excited. They're innovating. That's
no,
good.
definitely are. So
Tell the people.
you can now earn money through Discord. This is a new thing. The platform subscription program has been expanded to communities in the US, allowing them to monetize their servers. This is very interesting. Read a little bit of the article. It goes into some depth here, but essentially Discord is expanding the server subscription program, allowing more creators to start charging subscription fees for premium access and perks. Starting today, we're expanding the availability of server subscriptions, allowing creators on Discord to earn money directly within their server. Community servers in the US have the capability of enable subscriptions provided they meet the minimum criteria. You have to be 18 years or older. Your account must be in good standing. You must have both your email and phone number verified, and you must have two-factor authentication enabled. The only criteria for subscription eligibility is being 18 or older. They repeat the criteria after just listing it. Very interesting merge. Very cool. Creators will be able to initiate one or multiple tiers of subscriptions and set their own prices. Contrast to Twitch's much, it says much maligned. Is that anything? Maligned? I don't know what that is.
Maligned. Maligned.
Maligned. Interesting. Yeah, they're much, I'm gonna say much hated. I'm just gonna be outright about it, They're much hated 50-50 revenue share. Discord is offering a much more attractive 90-10 revenue split, but it'll take some time to get your money. According to Discord's monetization terms, users will get paid out 30 days after the end of the calendar month, meaning creators won't see the money they've earned for January until March 1st. They also must accumulate at least $100 to get their first payout and have at least $25 earned for each subsequent monthly payout. Very interesting. Dude, the 90-10 revenue split though. Gosh, dude, Discord's just out here doing it big.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a pretty nutty split there for the most part. I mean, yeah, so I mean, there's a screenshot as well of what it looks like and what subscription services look like. But yeah, I think I'm really on board with this. I think it's an interesting concept, and you can do some interesting stuff with it. I think the closest we've gotten to this so far that I can think of is if you have like a huge Twitch following and you direct them to your Discord, but you make it like a sub only Discord or you have sub only channels. That's like the
Yeah.
closest thing now we have to this. I'm like, hey, Twitch gets all that money, but hey, Discord has integration, so you can like link up and do that. But now it's like you can just completely dodge that and just say like, hey, like just sub to the Discord and then get like all the perks and stuff through that. It seems setting your price points and everything. It's there's a lot of flexibility to the creator, which is huge. We haven't seen this, I don't think, many other places. I mean, the article mentions like stuff like OnlyFans creators, like and stuff like that. I don't know if it's like I don't know what the revenue split is there. I'm sure it's a pretty reasonable split on that end too. That's probably another example of someone that treats their creators well. But overall, I'm excited to see how this plays out, and I'm excited to see how servers utilize this because I think there's a lot of huge opportunities here. I don't know. What are your
I
thoughts, Mike?
I well, right off the bat, I think you know who this competes with like immediately is Patreon.
Oh yeah.
Like
Mhm.
Patreon and you might watch the same YouTube videos as I do, but they're mostly educational. And when they get into that like if they talk about something historical or like something in present day that's very controversial, like for example, like war, for example, and they go like down graphically of like what's happening and like who's been like uh horrible things that happen in war by nature like get demonetized on YouTube. So they use a
Yeah.
different platform. I forgot what the other platform is. Um, but this would be like a perfect example of something you can use. Instead
Yeah.
of Patreon, you can switch over. Patreon doesn't take a 90-10 split. I think they take a like 5% cut
Yeah.
or
It's
something like
it's
that. I
really
don't
low. It's either 10 or
It
5, I
is.
think. Yeah.
It is. It's really not that bad. But I think the cool thing about Discord is you can basically have an entire community, and there's so many different things you can do with Discord to
Yeah.
make it so much better. Um, I think this is really, really good for pretty much every content creator. They do have, you mentioned OnlyFans, but that's because you can't have sexually explicit content hosted on link on Discord
Oh
or
yeah. I mean,
like
which
elite
makes sense.
illegal activity or drugs or dangerous weapons,
Yeah.
even if they're legal in your own state or country, like can't have it.
Yeah.
Um, every platform is different, so you need to make sure you know what you're getting involved in when you set something up like this. But I think it's really cool. It's a really good idea to keep Discord monetized. And you and I, like, we've been paying Discord Nitro and like going over the top, doing boosts on servers. It's like
Yeah.
this is a really cool platform.
Yeah, I've been a huge supporter of Discord from the start. They were one of the it was one of the first apps where I was ever like, I don't have to pay for this, but I want to pay for this. You know what I mean? And so like
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, give me the subscription. So I actually paid for before Nitro was even a thing. I just paid like the $5 a month, like just like here's a little extra money for
That's
like
awesome.
emotes and stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of those things I used it every day, and it was such solid software that I actually wanted to um give money to Discord, and they just so happen to have a subscription service, and you get a couple extra features. And so I was like, okay, not only am I like wanting to pay them, but I'm actually getting something out of it rather than just handing them money. But like either way, I would have just like been like, hey, you want $5 a month? Sure. Like, I love this app. So yeah, I mean, I think this is awesome. Hugely in favor of this. I'm excited to see what Discords do with it, like what certain channels do with it, and how people would just utilize this to its max potential, and how creative people get. I think it's the biggest thing. So, dude, I'm all in, dude. All in. Sign me
Yeah,
up. Sign me up.
I I'm excited to see what they add. They've been going crazy with the updates over the last year.
Yeah,
So it's only been getting better.
yeah,
And I hope they continue building on what they already have, but not like take away features that were previously free to encourage people to subscribe for Nitro.
yeah. It's true.
So
Um,
that's the big thing for me.
it's a good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, dude, they added games recently. You could play games with people in your voice channel.
Yes. You can
Like,
set
dude,
up
sick.
events, like you
Yeah,
know, it'd be actually really cool, and like shout out to anybody that wants to join our Discord, but we could do hosting events where people can just like come in live and watch us live
yeah.
while we're doing the recording,
Which would be sick.
and
Yeah,
yeah, it could be like a unique experience as well. So
yeah, for sure.
just just options that Discord does. I'm mentioning.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. we'll look into it. We get the Mad Lads cord. I'm running strong. So
Link in description.
link in the description. To move on. So I have an article here. I know I was talking to you about this before the show. This is more of an opinion piece, but it
Yes.
got me thinking. It got me really thinking. So I figured I'd talk about it here. This comes from The Verge. It says, "It feels like incredible customer service might be bad for the environment." And so you read that article, it's like, huh? And so like, because that headline intrigued me when I read it, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna read this. So pretty sure the whole article, and the person that wrote this, I don't want to butcher their name, Omar. I want to butcher his name, but um, needless to say, they did say they said that they had an old controller, the right joystick snapped off of the controller, like fully snapped off. And so it was like, and you could see at the top of the picture, it's literally just a nub, like it completely, that part completely snapped off. It was just a nub. They contacted customer support. They reached out to the manufacturer to get a replacement stick. They originally reached out and said, "I just want the replacement part. Like, can you just send me like the stick?" And they were like, "Yeah, you know what? We're just gonna send you a new controller. Like, that shouldn't have happened. Like, we want to make good on it. Let's just." He's like, "Here, just have a new controller. Like, you don't have to send it in or anything. We'll just ship you out a new one." So they sent him out a new controller, and he was like, "Okay, well, this is like great and all, but like, do you like?" Because he said he got the controller, and he's like, "Well, this is great and all, but do you actually have like a part? Can I just get a stick so I can fix the controller?" And they're like,
No
"No,
shit.
no, just keep that one. Like, we don't do the parts, we don't do any of that. So just like take the new controller." And he was like, "Well, like I feel like I'm just wasting this controller because like it's a perfectly good controller, it's just the stick's bad." And so he said he went to eBay, bought a broken controller, and just scrapped it for parts, and he was able to replace the stick relatively easily. And so now he has two perfectly good controllers. But it like got him thinking of like, okay, why do companies send out new controllers or just like completely replace stuff when like it's a in most cases it's a pretty easy fix. Like, and it's probably less money. They'd probably save some money, and not only that, but they would save tech waste. Overall, I think they talked about the article. It says electronic manufacturers are going to have to do better in the world that faced a record 53.6 million metric ton of e-waste in 2019, with only 17% of it being recycled. In 2021, there was a marginal improvement, but only due to the economy affected by COVID. But yeah, I mean, 53.6 million metric tons of e-waste. Yeah, that's a lot, and it really got me thinking about that stuff. It's like I get it's like I know oftentimes like people are very impatient. Like I know for me when I had to RMA like my motherboard for my computer when I first got it, I was like
Yeah.
devastated because I was like, now I have to wait another 2 weeks. Like I have to send this in, it has to get approved, and then I have to send out another one. Like that was very frustrating. But it's also at the same time like, well, if they can fix it, send it back, or if they could just give you a new one and then fix that one and sell it refurbished, I have nothing wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Um, and overall, it's definitely better for definitely better not having the waste out there. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's got me thinking about this. This is like you made a lot of solid points in here. If you have all these companies, maybe you have like Apple now that's they're trying to go carbon neutral, and that's like their effort they're trying to do by 2030 or something like that. And so they've made a lot of strides to not include like the power bricks anymore when you get your phones and a lot of stuff like that. So I appreciate the efforts that these tech companies are trying to make. Yeah, it makes you wonder, especially in the gaming sphere, of like these companies just kind of either sending you a new controller or just not like trying to fix anything. Um, and so yeah, I mean, Mike, do you think customer service is going too far? Is that a thing?
It's more complicated than that. I know why they rather just send you a new one than replace it. Like replace and repair. Or sorry, not replace, but repair. Because like I work in mostly manufacturing and I'm really close to that industry in
Mm,
a lot of different areas, but there's two reasons why you would rather just give them a new controller, or like this goes with pretty much everything. Like if you break something as simple as your antenna on your car, let's say you break the plastic cover off of your car, you
yeah,
can't order a part for the plastic cover, you have to buy the entire assembly.
yeah,
And the reason for that is two reasons. The first one is the legality, right? Because you have a warranty, and if they entrust the customer to like repair it themselves, then that's going to automatically void the warranty. which is something that you don't really want to deal with in general.
Yeah.
The second one is having a different side of the manufacturing line where they can actually do repairs. Usually that's a custom job. So you need employees to do that, which means you need salaries, you need benefits, you need to make sure they're skilled. Sometimes it's going to take a lot more time, like depending, because every situation is going to be unique, right? And ultimately, when you get so big in manufacturing, you're literally saving money by just sending them the new controller, then you mailing the controller in for them to pay, right? Because it's under warranty, right? So it's like your controller breaks, it's under warranty. You send it in, and they're paying for the shipping there and back, and they're also paying somebody to replace it, like repair it.
Mhm.
It's way easier for you to just and cheaper for them if you just call up and you're like, "Hey, my controller's not working anymore," and they're just like, "Okay, well, you're still under warranty. We'll send you a new one." They'll like do it no questions asked sometimes.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why like Amazon, because they got so big, it's if you accidentally mail your like product to your old address and you've moved, you can call them up and be like, "Yeah, it went to the wrong address." They'll mark it as lost and mail you a new one,
Yeah.
and you only had to pay for one. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like the economy of things where they're just making so much money that they can afford the loss.
Yeah. It's very true. But then we're at a loss to our environment, Mike.
Oh,
You know what I'm
don't get me
saying?
wrong. I'm I'm just talking entirely on the economics of a
Yeah.
business that's like has manufacturing lines that are absurd,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
And
true.
all automated too. You think anybody's actually going in there and clipping these controllers together?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think so. I think the moral of this story is, like, if you think you can repair it, like, if you're confident in it and you realize that, "Oh, this is gonna void the warranty if I try this and break it," like, definitely go the route of, get a get another controller, like, or get a broken one, try and scrap it for parts and do something like that.
Yeah.
I think controllers is certainly, it's certainly not that big of a loss if you accidentally break it, 'cause
No.
it's not that big. So, like, yeah, I would say go for something like that, or you could, like, take it into, like, a local, like, repair shop or something like that. I mean, there's so many, like, computer
Yeah.
repair stores and, like, stuff like that that I'm sure would be willing to work on it. Um, they could certainly
Yeah.
probably do it pretty quick. They wouldn't mind getting the parts and everything. But yeah, in terms of, yeah, it's a weird question because I totally understand, like, the whole economic thing about it. Um, and it's certainly probably not going to go anywhere anytime soon. I think yeah, I think because they also talk about, like, right to repair and stuff like that, because oftentimes, like, Apple, that was a huge thing with Apple, right? Is like they made it very, very hard for repair shops to even, like, be able to work with Apple products because it was hard to find parts, and they made it, they made it so easy to just, like, void warranties and stuff like that. It was very, like, that was a huge thing. There's whole videos on that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the right to repair is a very interesting debate. But I think overall, something like a game controller, I think it's like, yeah, I would say go for it, and then if it breaks, it breaks. It's not a end of the world, but
Yeah, you know speaking of gaming, and most people remember the iconic Ring of Death by the Xbox 360.
yeah,
They initially started doing that. Do you remember that?
yeah,
You would mail in your console would inevitably get the red ring or death. You go on YouTube back then. It was like barely usable 2006 era, and um, maybe it wasn't even. It was like E-Bombs World sometimes. It was weird videos, and you go in there and you're like, okay, what are the tricks that you can use to fix it? And then you find out it's like, oh crap, I had to mail in it at Microsoft, and they would literally replace and fix the components in your Xbox and mail it back.
yeah,
But then after it became so much, it was like just constant over the course of a year. They were like, all right, we're just gonna mail you a new one.
yeah,
Like that happened with me. I got like the brand
yeah.
new slim, like
Oh
black
yeah,
Xbox 360
yeah,
because of that.
yeah.
Uh,
It's
where it wouldn't get the red ring of death anymore.
Dude, yeah, and not to go into too much of a tangent, but isn't that the weirdest phenomenon? Like, they couldn't figure
Interesting.
out the internals of the consoles quick enough for launch, so they just said, "All right, we'll get it out, and there's going to be a guaranteed amount of Xboxes that go bad." So they
They
accounted for
took the
that up
L.
front. They literally just accounted for that and said, "All right, we're gonna have to deal with this." But, like, you know what?
Exactly.
At least we'll give them away, so if something is wrong, they'll know, kind of thing. It's like, it was so weird because sometimes you get the red ring and it was like complete, and it was not console breaking. You could actually fix it on your own, or it was like actual component level issues that you had to, like, actually send in and get it fixed. It was very odd. Um, I think I actually, my original Xbox, I'm pretty sure I completely dodged it. I don't know how I did, but my
You're
original
so
Xbox
lucky.
actually didn't get it. Yeah, I got really lucky. Um, because I knew so many people that ended up getting it, but it was so weird. Like they just shipped that and they were like, yeah, there's known issues, but whatever. We're just like here to like give you a console, so we'll deal. It's like they just send it out. We know issues will come, but we'll deal with that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, kind of thing. It's like
Exactly.
it's looking back on it, it's just so odd, and they haven't had anything like that since on Xbox consoles, which is good. So, God, it's so strange though, man. I think I mean the original Xbox One, the Xbone, the VCR. I know I think there actually was like an issue similar to that at some point with updates, where like updates were just breaking like the Xbox, and so it was like
Yep.
it was like the newer software was breaking it. It's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, they had something going on where like the software wasn't lining up with the hardware from the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One.
Yeah,
So they figured it out now because the Xbox 360 is basically discontinued. It's a glorified streaming service now.
yeah, like
Like
set top
Xbox
box.
Live doesn't really work.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, a lot of games have been servers have been shut down and stuff too for a lot of games.
yeah,
Rather tragic, a lot of memories there.
yeah. But shout out to my age with Xbox 360 Red Ring of Death. One of the forum ways to fix it was you had to turn it on and have it completely wrapped up in like a towel,
Yeah, I remember the towel method. Yeah.
and it actually worked.
Yeah, and
It
half
was
the time,
like
yeah, it worked.
yeah, they were like Red Ring of Death, like, was caused because it would overheat, like, some silicone or whatever, like,
Yeah.
overheated, and it just was like a fail safe or something, I don't know. And then they were like, "Yeah, just wrap it up in a towel, make it hotter." Like, "What?"
Yeah, it didn't make
Like,
sense, but it's like, it
no,
worked.
but it worked.
Yeah, it
Give me, like,
worked,
an
man.
extra 2 weeks.
Which is odd. Yeah. Work. Anyways, yeah. That was kind of just a food for thought, but yeah, it's a very interesting topic of like, right to repair and should
Yes.
you just worry about doing it yourself or like should these companies be so graceful with the way they handle this? But yeah, all goes back to money, baby. Back to money.
That's that's literally what it is.
Literally what it is. Well, we move on to a very to a rather well, it can be a complex topic, I'm not gonna lie. Had to do a little research myself beforehand to make sure we knew what we were talking about here. But Mike actually sent me this article. It's about Moore's
Moore's
Law.
Law.
Moore's Law. So Moore's Law says Moore's Law ain't dead. It's just a whole lot more expensive now.
Yeah.
This article talks about it, so we'll go over what Moore's Law is for those that don't know. Um, so I'll just read the article, top down for now. It says AMD Chief Technology Officer Mark Papermaster has good news. Moore's Law isn't dead. CPUs and GPUs will keep getting better for the foreseeable future. But he also has some bad news. It's becoming more and more expensive to keep it all on track, forcing innovative solutions such as chiplet designs. Moore's Law, of course, is the observation that transistor densities in integrated circuits double every 2 years. Poised in 1965 by Intel's co founder Gordon Moore, it originally plotted a yearly cadence for density doubling before Moore revised the schedule to every 2 years in 1975. There it has stayed ever since and has proven a remarkable precedent to this very day. So it's very speaking at a summit in Las Vegas, Papermaster explained that Moore's Law is still on track, but chip technology is becoming ever more complex. So yeah, it's essentially talking about Moore's Law. Um, the reason like we've seen such leaps and bounds in like GPUs, especially like from like the 20 series to like the 30 series and 30 series to 40. It's like that's partly due to Moore's Law and the fact that we can just fit a higher density of transistors on a board itself. We can actually like,
Mhm.
and so there's just a lot more computational power out of that. Um, and and also why we also see like the nanometer of the actual like chips shrink year over year.
Yeah.
It seems like it's because they could just fit more, and it gets smaller and smaller. Um, but yeah, so I mean, it's so the article continued to read. It's not that there's going to be it's not that there's not going to be exciting new transistor technologies. We've seen exciting new transistor technology for the day. Next, as far as you can really plot things out, it's about 6 to 8 years, and it's very, very clear to me the advances that we're going to make to keep improving the transistor technology, but they're simply more expensive. It seems we've seen AMD, especially with the most recent GPUs, RDNA 3, they moved to a chiplet design in their actual construction. Chiplets are one part of the solution in rising silicon production prices. piecing together combinations of old school CPUs and GPUs with specialized accelerators will be more important in the future of actually seeing drastic improvements in computational ability. Um, and yeah, I mean, there's it gets into some a little more technical stuff about how we can see some improvements out of the future of CPUs and GPUs, and um, my favorite portion is kind of the end of it. So TSMC, the semiconductor, the huge semiconductor company that makes a lot of the semiconductors for like Intel and AMD and all that. They said TSMC makes AMD CPUs and GPUs, not to mention Nvidia's latest GPUs and Apple's M1 chips. Right now, TSMC's 5 nanometer node has seen an AMD CPU and GPUs is roughly one generation ahead of Intel's 10 nanometer node, recently rebranded to Intel 7. TSMC has also started 3 nanometer production with devices using TSMC 3 nanometer silicon expected to hit the market in the first half of 2023, most likely in the form of the Apple Mac computer running a 3 nanometer derivative of its M1 and M2 chips. TSMC then expects to have 2 nanometer production coming in line in 2025. For now, it says, for now, then Moore's Law looks healthy enough. It's just become a bit more higher maintenance. And yeah, it's essentially like Moore's Law is still in effect, but it's getting harder and harder and way more expensive for these companies to actually try and keep up, which is really
Yes.
funny, like really ironic, I think. It's like we're hitting such odd bottlenecks that I feel like I thought we would never hit. If you would have asked me like 5 years ago, this would have never been like, oh yeah, this is going to be the the issue. Like it's not going to be like we just can't. It's just odd to me overall. But and I mean, I don't know. What do you think about it all, Mike? Are you excited? I mean, I'm excited too for I think these like smaller these smaller, I guess more densely packed chips, but it's really odd.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be crazy and crazier as things keep going, right? Because it's like it it's one of those ones where it's happening, but you don't really realize it exactly unless you like really notice things. Because like technology is around us all the time to the point where you can kind of take it for granted, right? Like something as simple as your phone now, you can do pretty much like you can do a lot of things on your phone simultaneously. Like you can watch like you can do what I do sometimes. Like I'll be on two different social media platforms at the same time, watching YouTube, answering emails, and like also I can splice in my YouTube with my music on Spotify or Pandora.
No.
And it's like, dude, that's a phone. It's like
Yeah,
I'm
it's
doing
kind of
everything
wild.
that I yeah, it's like and I wasn't able to do that in 2005 without my computer crashing. Like I would
It's true, man.
download something from LimeWire and it would take like 5 years and it had nothing to do with my internet speed.
Yeah,
It was like my computer was just trash.
yeah,
So it's just everything's getting faster and faster and faster and the funny thing about it is like the major bottleneck is the actual production aspect of it.
yeah.
It's
It is.
not it's not the law itself, it's just physically being able to fit that many nodes on a small device accurately,
Yeah,
you know?
it's kind of wild. It's like the more we think about it, it's like um technological kind of revolution. We aren't like able to. We're getting to a point where we actually like can't keep up with it because the technology itself is just getting so good. It's like wild to think about. And I didn't think we would hit this like. It's not something I thought we would hit like in the next like decade, let alone next year. So kind of wild to see for sure.
Yeah, let me hit you with, like, something that is sci-fi, but it's not anymore. It's like that's
Yeah.
it's going to happen, is contact lenses with, like, computers in them.
Yeah.
You know, when you see those, like, spy movies from the past, like, 10 years, they'll usually have,
Yeah.
like, "Okay, we have this contact lens in, it's, like, recording everything, providing 8K resolution to a remote computer on the other side of the world." It's
Yeah.
like, that's going to happen, man. It's like it's
Yeah.
nuts.
It's
So,
wild, man.
um, it's only a matter of time, and obviously, there's basically talking about in the article, it's not like Moore's law is still gonna be the same for the next at least 5 to 10 years, and maybe it'll start slowing down in the end, but it really just comes down to, like, the human hand and the human body can only handle, like, so much, like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like, size-wise, you can only pick up certain things, right? There are things that are too small that you can pick up. you can't pick up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Very true.
I'm getting down to like nanometers here.
Yeah, for real. It's so crazy. Like, how do you even engineer these when it's like so small? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
like 1 nanometer you can't see with the human eye, that's for sure. So it's like,
no shot.
and even like strong powered microscopes, I feel like it gets more and more difficult. So it's all kind of wild,
Yeah,
man. It's just it's crazy. It's like when I sit here and think like, oh, we've made huge strides in technology over the past 2 decades. Like, oh, it's slowing down, right? But like, it's not like, and it's just getting to a point where we can't keep up, which I think is pretty funny. But who knows? Maybe we'll. I think human ingenuity, we'll figure it out. So not too worried about it. But it's just getting faster and faster, and it's only going to keep going until it just gets to a point where it's so small that we shit just can't manage it. So kind of crazy.
that's a fact. Oh, one more thing I want to just like touch on right before we leave is a lot of people don't understand how small a nanometer actually is. Um, the thickness of a spider silk, which most people have seen a spider, that most people have come across webs before, right?
Yeah,
Like spider silk, according to a website I just pulled up, has a diameter of around 600 nanometers. Some of them get really small, and it'll be down to like 12 nanometers for like different types of insects. But we're talking about silicon and these transistors getting down to like less than that.
yeah, like two,
Like,
like
like what?
huh?
Like what?
Like, you can't see that with a human eye. You know what I'm saying?
No
Crazy.
shot. So I just wanted to like
Yeah,
give some type of
that's a
comparison for people that
yeah.
don't know what a nanometer
Well,
is.
see that's a very good scale. I know a lot of people have definitely seen spider webs. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. I didn't realize it was like, and even that's like that's 600 nanometers. It seems huge, right? Kind of crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's insane,
it's
man. And that
insane.
also like depends on the web, depends on the spider, but like you
Yeah,
like Google it, man. It's nuts.
yeah,
It's crazy. It doesn't look real.
yeah. It definitely is. It's definitely wild. Very much looking forward to the future of computation and where this goes. 'Cause it's crazy. Like, so
Yeah.
much can be compacted on this phone. We think this is impressive. What's 10 years going to look like? It's just I could like go crazy just thinking about it. Um,
Actually, let's enter top 10 what cell phones from 10 years ago?
yeah, top 10 cell phones from 2010,
2012.
2012. The
From
iPhone.
2012.
There you go. Huh.
All right, let's look at this.
Maybe the Sony Ericsson. You remember Sony Ericsson?
Oh my goodness. Uh HTC One is on this list.
Nice,
It'd be
nice.
the Apple iPhone 5.
iPhone 5. Yeah, I guess it was around that
iPhone
time.
5.
Jeez,
I got a buddy that still has the 5. Oh gosh.
dude. No. Tell
I
him
need to
to
talk to
get a new
him, man.
phone, dude.
He's a computer science major too.
Just
he
get,
can't be
get
saved.
just tell him to get the SE. The 2022 SE. Like, that's an iPhone 8. It's not that big of an upgrade, you know? It's a bigger screen.
That's
That's it.
a fact.
Just an 8. That's all it is, with a better chip in it. So,
No, well.
yeah. No. Well, you know, I think it's enough. That's enough brain busting, mind bending,
Mhm.
thought provoking topic. I think for for 1 week. So I know we have
That's a fact.
one more thing to cover that is exciting and something to look forward to and something you don't have to think too hard about.
Yeah. So we're over an hour now, so I want to wrap it up for the people that stuck it out and probably stuck it out to see December video game releases, right?
Sir, yeah, 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 yeah.
So I showed Kyle the list before we got started, and I might have messed you up. I don't know because I put them in order based on release date. Did that mess you up, Kyle?
That's all good. I only, to be fair, I only am gonna showcase like the notable ones for me. So like, of course,
Oh, good, good,
High on
good, good.
Life is this month. Close Protocols
Hmm.
this month, and we have I think the new Need for Speed. So I'm only gonna show like a
Okay.
couple, but you can list them all. And
Yeah, there's actually not that many games coming out in December. All the game releases that are happening are basically until December 15th, with one exception, and I'll pull it up real quick. Not on stream, but like in my Discord. So Valkyrie Profile Leneth. I'm not even sure what that game is. Let me see if I've even seen it before. Um,
sounds
have
interesting.
have you?
I don't think I have, no.
It looks like an indie dev game. 2D. It might be indie dev. Yeah, PSP. This might be the wrong one. Could be DLC. Not sure. But mostly all the games that are coming out in the month of December are before December 15th. So keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and start reviewing some. The first one that's coming out today is The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution platform. That's on the PC, Meta even, the Meta Quest 2.
Yeah.
So that's just Walking Dead, pretty straightforward. The next one is Marvel's Midnight Suns, and that is going to be on the PC, PS5, Xbox X, and Series S. It's on December 2nd. Another one coming out on December 2nd, which I'm actually really excited about, is Need for Speed Unbound. And the reason I'm excited for that is nobody's been like talking about it. Need for Speed franchise is pretty huge. This one's flown under the radar. I saw a couple of reviews while I was I actually saw it like late at night. I saw somebody do a release video and they were just like, Need for Speed is back. It's actually good. I'm excited. And I'm like, this could be pretty sick. It looks like Need for Speed, and you're actually showing it right
Yeah.
now on the
Yeah.
on the pod
Yeah,
for shout
this
out
is
YouTube and Spotify.
yeah, this is what I saw. I mean, new Need for Speed game. I'm always interested to see what it looks like. But
Yeah.
yeah, it looks very interesting. It looks
Arcade
very
racer.
yeah, it looks very Need for Speed to me. Nothing
Mhm.
too crazy, at least in my view. But then you get YouTube ads, so
Yeah, you got wrecked.
uh,
The big one that you mentioned, December 2nd, Friday. Oh yeah, sorry, hold on. Need for Speed comes out on PC, PS5, Xbox X, and S. Yeah, forgot to mention that part. Another one that's coming out on the same platforms, but yeah, PS4 and the Xbox One to it, is the Callisto Protocol,
so
which we've covered pretty much multiple times, haven't we?
yeah, at this point,
I
I'd
think
say
at this point, yeah. We've
um,
covered the trailer plenty of times. We did like basically a react video to it.
yeah,
Um, it's
certainly
looking good.
one of the most anticipated games I think of 2022. Aside
Yeah.
from Ragnarok, yeah,
Yeah,
um,
that's a fact. And just in time for the Game Awards.
yeah, just in time. Yeah, this is
I w-
something I may check out at some point. Yeah, I don't believe it's on Game Pass though, so it's kind of
yeah, that's where it
we'll
kills you.
see. We'll see when I get around to it, but it looks good nonetheless.
Agreed. The next one is Back for Blood River of Blood DLC, which is pretty cool. It's good to see some DLC added for Back for Blood, seeing some support for them. That's on all the platforms you're used to: PC, PS5, Xbox X and S, PS4, Xbox One. Um, Another one to follow up with is Hello Neighbor 2. That's on PS4, 5, Xbox One, X and S, PC as well, and that's December 6th. Another one on December 6th is Knights of Honor 2 Sovereign. That's only on PC. There is Samurai Maiden, which is on PC Switch. That's probably our first Switch, maybe only Switch on this list, except for, oh, yeah, there's another one, Final Fantasy 7. PS4 and 5, that's December 8th. You got Choo Choo Charles, probably for the kiddies.
Choo Choo
That's
Charles, yeah,
on
that's the
that's
one.
on that's on PC for December 9th. And I know you want to hit play on this video,
Sure,
is High on Life, PC, Xbox X and S,
baby.
Xbox One. Sorry, PlayStation. I know. This is the one that is Rick and Morty inspired artists
Yeah,
came in, did the story for it. It looks incredible. I'm pretty excited. There's a
it
lot of
does.
hype behind it.
It's on Game Pass,
Looks
baby. I mean, what more could you want?
Yep.
It's on Game
Yeah,
Pass, so it's definitely
it's
worth checking
looking
out. I
good.
think.
So that's December 13th. Another one on the same day is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. That's on literally every platform. If you're a big Final Fantasy fan, go check that out. And the last one is everybody's aware of The Witcher 3, December 14th, PS5, Xbox X, and S. And that's pretty much the main ones I wanted to cover for the month of December. There's really not much
Yeah,
to it. We're getting towards the end. We're getting towards the Game Awards. All the major developers, all the blockbuster hits, they release early November to be like hot and ready for Game Awards to try to snake in and make sure people forget about Elden Ring. We didn't forget though.
didn't forget about
So
Elden Ring, baby. Very,
yeah,
very serious Game of the Year contender right there.
yeah, it
Um,
is.
yeah, we're excited. I think
So
overall, it's some good games this month. I think it's a good solid closeout to the year. I mean, between High on Life and Close to Protocol alone, I think those two are like, some pretty good ones. So, from what I'm seeing, so very excited. But yeah, the way to end 2022. Hopefully for some better games next year. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much like all I got for us. I feel like it's been a good week for news, in particular because of the holiday. You know, like
Yeah,
sometimes you don't know what's going to happen. Like things can go silent on us, and then we're scrambling.
yeah, for sure.
Been it's
Yeah,
been quite a while since we had that problem, though.
yeah, it has been quite a while. So, yeah, overall good articles. Hopefully some articles that made you think. Hopefully some stuff that kind of just make you want to make you think for the last season episode. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Let's go. Well, I guess without further ado, I mean, let's wrap it up, right?
yeah.
We've been going for quite long enough. This is significantly shorter than the Black Friday episode last week.
Significantly. Sorry for the length on that, but we wanted to get the deals out to you. And tell you what was
Yeah.
good. So
Yep. Next
yeah,
week will be the Game Awards episode. We're pretty excited about that. It will be coming out Saturday, I think is
yeah,
the
we'll be
plan.
dropping Saturday morning. So yeah,
Yeah.
be a day later than normal, but it'll be there.
We ain't worried about it. But I think without further ado, let's let the people go. We'll see you next time. Links are in the description for everything we covered. We love mentioning that. We do have timestamps. You got if you're listening and you got to come back or whatever, you're not going to be lost. You can pick up where you left off. So
Yeah,
without further ado,
exactly.
thanks for listening. This is Michael Anthony, my co-host, Kyle Heath, and we appreciate you. Thanks for listening. This is the M2 podcast. See you next week. Bye.
Bye everyone. Thanks for listening.
See ya.